Yo, what's going on, everybody? So before we get into the video, I want to challenge all of you to share this video with every person you know who has made complaints about why Naruto and Sasuke are nerfed in the Boruto series, both in the anime and in the manga. I strongly recommend that you share this video because I literally have the official reason for why Naruto and Sasuke have been nerfed in Boruto Naruto Next Generations. So with that being said, I'm just gonna go ahead and talk right into the video. So everyone has been complaining about Naruto and Sasuke seemingly never being able to go at 100% full power. We've had situations where Naruto is faced with a Sasuke level threat, and because he has all the villagers who are gathered inside the tuning exams, he can't unleash his full power against Momoshiki, like what we saw in the versus Momoshiki arc. And you even had Sasuke commented on it saying that, hey, if Naruto wasn't worried about the other people in the village, Naruto could have easily bounced back Momoshiki's attack, which further confirms that Naruto at full power was more powerful than Momoshiki and Kinshiki. And so you had that situation going on. You had Sasuke seemingly every time he pops up in the anime, Sasuke's either having his chakra drained or his Rinnegan is taking up so much of his chakra that Sasuke can't fight with it for lengthened periods of time. This wasn't something that just started going back with the Boruto anime. In fact, this actually started with Naruto Gaiden. If you go back and you look at it, Masashi Kishimoto had Sasuke's Rinnegan being deactivated for a period in time because of the space-time jutsu that he created. And so that's something that, ironically enough, even though this has started to get a lot of attention now, is actually something that's been going on for a long period of time. And when it comes to Naruto, the exact same thing. Every time we think we're going to see him completely cut loose, all of a sudden the writers for the story, or Kodachi when it comes to the writing for the manga, seemingly pull back the curtains on Naruto and say, hey, you need to pump the brakes for a second, you can't go all out. So why exactly is it that Naruto and Sasuke can't go at 100% full power? Well, I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret. Masashi Kishimoto, the series creator for the Naruto franchise, actually weighed in on this years ago. Now this is years ago. This is actually something that I had the interview for it, and I just completely skipped over this because it wasn't something that caught my eye at the time. But because of the different series I'm working on for the channel to start 2020, I've been going back and rereading a lot of the Kishimoto interviews, and it's actually at this moment where I stumbled across this. So what I'm gonna do for you guys now is actually read the part where he's talking about what's going on with the Boruto anime, and in particular he's talking about Naruto and Sasuke's future power levels. So Shonen Jump asked him, what excites you about creating a new series like Boruto? Kishimoto says, there's a lot of characters that haven't shown up in Boruto yet, so I'm excited about the drama involving them. Shonen Jump then asks, what are your concerns about starting a new manga series after concluding one that was a huge hit? And this is where the big money ball is, okay? So Kishimoto says, for Boruto, because of everything that's already been done with Naruto, you can't help but have some things that will be repeated. So I worry about the story being too similar, and Naruto and Sasuke becoming so strong and the battles getting bigger and bigger. Now you have the kids fighting, so the scale needs to feel smaller. I don't want it to feel lacking, so the focus needs to be on expressing things differently or coming up with new ideas. Those issues concern me, end quote. So this is what I find interesting about this. Look at what he said. He said, I worry about Naruto and Sasuke becoming so strong and the battles getting bigger and bigger, and because he has the kids, the fighting needs to feel like it's on a smaller scale. That is a big part of the reason why all of a sudden, even though Naruto and Sasuke have these godlike powers, until the new generation gets stronger, you're not going to see Naruto and Sasuke fully unleash their power. This is something that I talked about in a few other videos. Now I have the author comments to back up what was essentially my theory. Essentially, you have Naruto and Sasuke basically playing the Kakashi role, if you will. So if you go back to the original Naruto story, Masashi Kishimoto admitted that he made this mistake with Kakashi when he first introduced Kakashi as this super elite Jonin who had all these legends about being of the copy ninja, about being known in other nations, and how overpowered he appeared to be in the Zabuza fight. Kishimoto recognized very early on that Kakashi was someone who had the potential to be way more broken than he could have ever imagined. And so all of a sudden Kakashi has stamina issues. But as the series progressed and as Kakashi got stronger and as the new generation improved and the sense of danger went up, all of a sudden the stamina's getting better. Kakashi's having more lengthier fights. Kakashi is showing exactly why he's such a legend. And when we get to the final arc of the series, all of a sudden you see Kakashi just enveloping all types of insane jutsu, fighting for prolonged periods of time, seemingly without getting fatigued until after fighting a whole day and a half in the war, by the time Naruto gives him the Kyuubi chakra. So when you start looking at stuff like that, you're starting to see exactly where Masashi Kishimoto is going with this. Now, I also want to kind of point out another thing to you guys. So when they also talk about the fact that the kids are going to be fighting and the scale needs to feel smaller, that's why all of a sudden you see Boruto in this generation using a little more strategy, like what we saw in the manga. I'm not going to spoil it for the anime onlys, but there's a fight with a character that we perceive to be dead, who supposedly died during the 4th Great Ninja War. All of a sudden he comes back, and Boruto in this generation have to essentially come up with a pretty insane strategy in order to defeat this guy. And with the current stuff going on in the manga, the exact same thing. Now we're getting characters who are more powerful than Naruto and Sasuke, but also have hacks abilities that are something that they can't really counter. And now it's forcing Boruto's generation to essentially step up to the plate. And now this is coming at a time where Boruto's been given a couple of really big power-ups, and now you start looking at the rest of the generation. Now they're starting to be buffed up, and now the threat level is coming up. So I think that this is the route they're going. Now I know some people are saying, well, why didn't Kishimoto just make a part 3 that deals with Naruto and his generation as adults transitioning to this era of peace? And I'll just say this, I personally would have loved to see that, especially given all the stuff we got in the various novels and the guidebooks and just the different source material that's out there that continues the Naruto story before we get to Boruto and Naruto Next Generations. However, this is the other thing you have to look at. Naruto and Sasuke, if they were stripped of their Sage of 6 Paths powers, all of a sudden it wouldn't be as bad, because now you could understand, okay, they're just not as strong as they were in the war. But because they've retained those powers, which I've talked about before numerous times, Naruto still has Sage of 6 Paths mode. That was revealed in one of the novels, I believe the Shikamaru Shinden novel. Like, Naruto still has that power, but with Naruto and Sasuke getting even stronger than they were when they fought in the war arc, and these characters seemingly having no limits to their power, the fact that you have these characters there means that you have to introduce a threat that's even more powerful than before. And so if you go that route, all of a sudden you're falling into the trap of essentially what Dragon Ball did. Now, I implore you to read the Dragon Ball manga, because the progression is a lot better in the manga than it was in the anime. But when you read the Dragon Ball manga, like, the stakes just got higher and higher and higher. And while Akira Toriyama did, in my opinion, do a good job with the scaling, again, read the manga. But I think Kishimoto understood that Naruto is a story, if it continues to be with the threat that's even more powerful than Naruto and Sasuke, and every arc these characters are just running into more and more roadblocks, it's going to run into that generic shonen trope. And that's something that the Naruto franchise, while it does use a lot of tropes, is something that the franchise has actually managed to avoid rather skillfully. And so when you look at the Boruto generation, this gives us an opportunity to essentially reset everything. It gives them an opportunity to reset everything, and as the characters get more powerful, you can start seeing more and more of why Naruto and Sasuke are the legends that they are. But I want to know from you guys, do you think that this was a good idea? Do you think Kishimoto had a right to be concerned that Naruto and Sasuke were too powerful? I've said this before, I definitely think so, because again, if there's a major threat, if it isn't a Sasuke level threat, Naruto and Sasuke could essentially show up, one-shot the enemy, and then that would be that. It's a total conflict killer. It's a total conflict killer. It doesn't have enough stakes. So I want to know from you guys, do you think that this was something that should have happened? But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.